In Manhattan, they said the restaurant was a temple of power. Crystal chandeliers hung like captured stars, marble floors gleamed, and velvet chairs held men and women who could move markets with a single phone call. At one long table, where the scent of rare wine and truffle butter floated like perfume, laughter erupted. Malik Darwish, a billionaire oil magnate whose tailored suit shone as sharp as his smirk, had just cut the air with a sneer in Arabic. "In America," he said, his voice smooth and cruel, "they'll hire anyone." "She looks like she got lost." The table roared with laughter. Investors, moguls, socialites, they all turned to glance at the waitress in a plain black uniform. Her dark hair was tied low, her face bare of makeup. To them, she was furniture, invisible, moving only to fill their glasses. None of them imagined she understood a word. She placed the bottle down gently, her hands steady, her eyes calm, as though she were setting fragile glass on a shelf. But then, without warning, she lifted her gaze and locked eyes with Malik. Her voice was clear, fluent, flawless Arabic. "Your words stain you, not me." The laughter died. Forks hovered. Malik's grin crumbled, the color draining from his face. He leaned back, suddenly smaller in the golden glow of the chandeliers. The waitress Elena Marlowe moved on, pouring wine with slow, deliberate ease, as if nothing had happened. She didn't belong in that world, not at first glance. Her uniform was crisp but plain, her shoes practical, her only ornament a silver watch that ticked softly at her wrist. Earlier that evening, she had sat in her dented sedan, brushing her fingers across an old photograph hidden in the glove box, her mother laughing on a porch swing, holding a 5-year-old Elena in her arms. The edges of the picture were frayed, the colors fading. Elena had traced the frame with her thumb before closing the compartment with a soft snap. She had known what kind of night it would be. Not the words, but the weight. She always felt it coming. Inside, the gathering of untouchables unfolded. At Malik's side sat Gregor Haynes, a hedge fund shark with slick hair and an overdone tan. Across from them, Vanessa Devereaux, her throat dripping in diamonds, leaned forward with glossy red lips parted in anticipation of drama. A tech entrepreneur named Tyler Pierce waved impatiently for his drink, muttering, "Hurry up, sweetheart," without ever looking her way. A real estate heiress named Claudia Rowan whispered loudly, "She's practically invisible. Honestly, who let her in here?" Her voice carried, cutting sharper than the knives laid on the table. The laughter returned, cold, pointed. Elena's hands never trembled. She poured, adjusted glasses, glided to the next guest. Yet every insult seemed to tighten the air like a string drawn too taut. Malik's voice rose again, baiting her. He held up a bottle of rare Riesling and, with a cruel smile, commanded her to read the label. The others chuckled, certain she would stumble, certain the joke was already written. Elena took the bottle, glanced at it once, and recited in perfect German, the vineyard, the soil, the year. The critic at the table nearly choked on his napkin. "She's absolutely correct," he stammered, his eyes wide. The table fell into stunned silence before recovering in nervous laughter. Malik waved dismissively. She memorized it. But when Javier, a Spanish investor, leaned forward with a question in his native tongue, she answered with a flawless accent, her words flowing like water. Heads turned. Murmurs stirred. Daniel Kazantsis, a venture capitalist with a habit of mocking anyone in reach, smirked and spelled his last name out slowly, like he was teaching a child. Without blinking, Elena pronounced it perfectly in Greek, adding, "Like the singer." Daniel froze mid-laugh, his bread roll suspended halfway to his mouth. The mood shifted, unease threading through the table. Malik wasn't finished. He spat a phrase in Arabic vile, degrading, meant to trap her. "Repeat it," he demanded, folding his arms. Elena didn't hesitate. In perfect English, she translated, "You said women are only good for serving and silence." The words rang through the room like broken glass. She followed it, still in Arabic. "Your words stain you, not me." Vanessa's fork clattered onto her plate. A hush swept across the velvet chairs. Malik's smirk collapsed into fury, his hands gripping the tablecloth. Still, Claudia tried to pierce the silence. She lifted her glass, claiming it was smudged, and handed it back with a tight smile. Elena wiped it with measured grace, then held it to the light. Her eyes flicked to Claudia's. In perfect French, she said, It's clean now. Would you like me to polish your manners, too? The table gasped, a few stifled laughs breaking through. Claudia's hand trembled as she took the glass back. From there, it unraveled. Tyler scoffed that she was still just a waitress. Leia Fontaine, a fashion influencer, mocked her scuffed shoes. Elena glanced at Leia's glittering bracelet and, in quiet Japanese, warned her, "Your bracelet is loose. Be careful. It might fall." Leia's hand flew to her wrist, her face pale as she fumbled with the clasp. The table's laughter curdled into uneasy silence. It was then that Richard Calloway, a silver-haired banker who had been quiet all evening, pushed back his chair and stood. His voice was steady, deliberate. "I remember now. Elena Marlowe. She was NATO's senior interpreter. During the Middle East crisis 12 hours straight, under fire, saving lives." A ripple of shock passed over the table. Forks stilled, glasses frozen. Malik's face twitched, his control slipping. Daniel scoffed, claiming she was just some language app junkie. But his bravado faltered when Elena returned his dropped spoon with a cool warning in Russian, "Careful. You're dropping more than just spoons tonight." From that moment, the balance of power shifted. Some guests looked down in shame, others avoided her eyes. Yet the tension only deepened when the restaurant doors opened, and a tall man in a quiet gray suit walked in. His presence was heavier than the marble beneath their feet. James Marlowe, Elena's husband. A man whispered about in boardrooms, his name attached to companies that shaped entire skylines. He crossed the floor without hurry, placed a hand lightly on her arm, and stood beside her without a word. He didn't need one. The table froze. Vanessa's diamonds seemed to dull. Marcus dropped his phone. Ethan's fork clattered. The air shifted, as though a storm had passed through, leaving nothing untouched. Elena didn't flinch. She poured another glass before meeting her husband's gaze. Something unspoken passed between them. A signal. A packed in. She turned back to her work, her steps calm, her presence unshakable. Not everyone recovered. Thomas Varela, a media mogul with a booming voice, tried to laugh it off. "She's still just the help," he said. Elena looked at him once, her voice smooth in Portuguese. "A show ends. Truth doesn't." His laugh withered in his throat. By the time Malik slipped away humiliated, his steps quick, almost fleeing, the damage was done. A week later, the fallout arrived like a storm. Someone had recorded the dinner. The video went viral. Malik's sneers, Elena's flawless responses, her quiet dismantling of the untouchable elite. Malik's investors fled. Vanessa lost her sponsorships. Tyler was forced out of his company. Marcus's social media was ripped apart. Claudia's deals collapsed. Leia's brand dropped her. Sophia, the icy lawyer, was quietly removed from a major case. Daniel's clients abandoned him. The ripple effects spread like cracks in glass. Each insult replayed online, dissected, memed, condemned. And through it all, Elena Marlowe remained silent, serving tables, her silver watch ticking softly. For those who had ever been laughed at, dismissed, or told they didn't belong, the video struck like a match. Her story wasn't just hers, it was theirs. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one you don't see coming.